Cindywilliamsmooreartist here, and today I want to talk with you about paint palettes. And I have a variety. I'm going to show you some of the ones that I have. And I get a lot of my paint palettes on Cheap Joe's, so I will make sure to include that website for you in the commentary section. This is a basic plastic paint palette, and what I did was I wet my brush inside of another palette, and see this is my master palette, and I will dab it in here. I'll dab my brush in here because I'm isolating the colors that I'm using for a painting, but I don't want to put a tube of paint in here. I want to make it really easy. So I will use this when I want to work on a painting and I want to just pull from the colors and make sure I'm focusing and not grabbing it off my big messy palette. Another way that I do that is through these wonderful porcelain palettes, and I'm looking at the bottom of them because I have some that have got green underneath them. Anyway, I have a set of 6 of these. They were 10 bucks at Cheap Joe's when I got them on sale. And if I'm working on a painting and I don't need this set of colors, I'll turn it over, just like I did with this one, and I'll put some of those colors there. This washes off like super easy. Look at that. It just lifts right off. And let me wipe this off. So these are really easy to clean up. Porcelain is just amazing. And think about your old teacup sets. If you have cheap teacup sets, I will grab an old white plate that's like a china thing, and I'll use that they work well and they clean up easily. Another type of palette I have are these travel palettes. I love these. So this, again, these will clean up easy. One thing with working with these metal palettes is the fact that the color will bunch up. When I'm working on a porcelain palette, I can smooth out the color, and this is an example of where the color can be smoothed out. I can see it. It's easy for me to re-wet, yada yada. Anyway, this one, it will bunch up a little bit more. That doesn't bother me, but one of the reasons why I absolutely love that is because I will create my own colors. I buy these plastic bins. I buy a bag of them at Cheap Joe's. I check Amazon's too. And then what happens is that this is actually a palette that's made for 2 lines and of paints, but I created a third. So I buy the squares, I fill the little guys up with the paint that I want, and then I just slip these in. Now, this top level, these like clip in. You can hear that clips in, and these are wonderful for travel. So this one had 2 rows, and I decided to make it a third, and if I wanted to, I would put a little bit of gum down there. I would find something that would be a gummy sticky thing, maybe even a 2-sided tape, and put that down. I can pop these out and I could put other colors in them, but this is one of my travel ones. It folds up, and then you can see this is a napkin that is from like the Delta Sky Club. Isn't that wonderful? I just find all these fun creative things, but it's a piece of paper towel. If I'm painting, I can use that to dab my brush. I can mix my paints in here. So in addition to this cute little set, I have these Derwent watercolor brushes that I can carry in my purse, get it through TSA because I won't have any water in there. But then when I get out of the TSA line, I'll go in a bathroom, I'll fill these up, and then I can take them with me in my purse and on the plane. And they're really easy to use to wet your colors and use with your palette. And this set I would have bought it on Amazon. I would imagine that Cheap Joe's carries it, but this set had a point. I like Derwent. This brand Derwent is really good. I have bought their watercolor pencils and some pencils, and I consider them one of the best. Oh, you already saw that part. what I wanted to show you was, here's a regular round. And you can see how easy it is to get wet. I haven't picked this up for months, and there it is. It's wet for, you know, for painting. So anyway, these are a great travel way to paint and travel while you're, you know, traveling. Sometimes I'll have a simple water postcard, you know, pad with me. And I like that because if I want to paint a postcard and send it to someone, seriously, I can. So those are fun. I will sometimes cut up paper, fit it inside those pans as well. This is another travel one that I have that I can use. Again, I bought all of these squares and I put them in here. I've got some blanks, but they pop right out, they pop right in. This is really nice. This palette is very specific. This is more of the colors that I would use for painting fields, sunrises, etc., etc. So I like this because sometimes when I'm traveling, I'll see some really nice countrysides, take some photos, and then I'll go back to my room and I will try to paint. Now, I'm just going to show you, like in here, I can place paper in here. I could put a smaller brush, well, that's a pretty good size. That would be a normal size paintbrush. So I would be able to fit a couple small paintbrushes in there. I tend to put paper towel, Kleenex, a cut up little sponge, and I'll put it in there for traveling. So like I might even shut that, and I might still put a little paper towel in there and close it off. So great way to travel. So another type of palette. This is a harder plastic one. And I use this, this is my seaside, current seaside type of, and beach colors that I'll use for painting. So you can see I've got my different ocean colors, and then these are some colors for sand. And one color that looks great in sand is a tiny bit of quinine, I don't know how to say this baby. It's quin red. I'm just going to say quin. So this I broke. I don't know how I broke it, but I did. So normally this fastens together and it closes up. And one of the things that I want to highlight is that these are brush holders. Like if I was painting outside, I could load brushes up on this and it will hold my brushes while I'm painting outside. Then also has the thumb. So I could hold this while I'm painting and be outside looking at something, and anyway, and just a wonder. So I really like this one, and I'm not going to throw this out just because I broke it. And it still closes well, and I can use it. So anyway, I do like a variety of painting bins. Here's another travel pan. This one I just cleaned out. I bought this. It had a bunch of paints in it. I just emptied it out because I wanted to do it different. But take a look at this. I really like this. It latches on here. Isn't that really cool? And that's great for mixing colors. You know, I could have a little bit of water sitting in there easily. And this paintbrush came with it, a little cotton watercolor. So I am going to figure out what colors that I want for another travel trip, and I will load this up with that paint and I'll have it there. And again, I can still put in a few pieces of paper in this, or I can put in a little bit of tissue, and I would also put a sponge in here. So pretty neat. This was a Winsor Newton set, and I purchased it. It had the colors in it. I used it up, and I reuse things. Another nice little palette. Again, this is porcelain, so it's going to wipe right off and clean up very easily. So I enjoy those. Another type of palette. Another type of palette is a butcher's palette. This is steel. It cleans up well. I use this pan right now for when I'm doing botanicals. It's something where I need to be very delicate with the work, and I usually do my work on a hot press paper. And so I like this because I can spread the paint out, I can see it, and if I only want to dab up a tiny bit, I can. This thing would be wonderful for travel. I'd probably put my socks in it in my big bag and then carry it through and then pull it out and use it, whatever. But this is really nice. I think I like the porcelains, and I like these is about the best. So this next palette, this is my large one, and I'm going to show you two. One second. Get out of there. Get. Okay, this next palette, I am going to unhook this from my thing. Look at this, baby. Isn't that amazing? This is metal, and you can see, like in here, some of the paint will kind of like glob up a little bit, or I don't know how you would say it, but it'll kind of like, it won't spread out, it'll shrink back in. I love this palette. It's very difficult for me to figure out like what colors I want. So I put this one together, and I've got, you can see I've got my blues, my reds, my oranges, my greens, some grays, and I move into my browns, and this has got usually neutral in it and some specialty grays. I love this. It's easy to clean up. I can just, you know, wipe this off and clean it up really easily. So these are very easy to use, and this is kind of like my master palette. Sometimes I will pull from this palette and pull out some colors and put it on a smaller one, so that way even while I'm filming, you could be watching me and you're seeing what colors I'm using easily. So I think this is one of my favorites. I just want all my colors. I think this is the last one I'm going to show you. This is another plastic pan. Cheap Joe's has these. They might be $6 at the most. The smaller ones are $4 something. I just got some extras on sale. I love pinks, so you'll find that I will paint roses in some of my paintings online, and I'll be using this. Again, it has your paintbrush holders here. And I don't use those unless I'm standing outside. And then this is great. If you are standing outside, again, you can be holding that. And it's, you know, to be able to drop your brushes in there, that's really good. So here's a word about these palettes. You can see in here some of this yellow staining, and they will absorb the color that you are using or you have sitting in the bin. I can see some blue down in here. Let me tell you a quick tip for how to clean these up. I will leave my colors alone. I might take this whole thing. If I want to clean it off, I'll take it and I'll go run it underneath the water in the faucet in the kitchen, just so I can clean it off and wipe it off. Then take a Q-tip, dip it in bleach, like I use a bathroom Clorox bleach, and I will take a Q-tip and I will rub it along here, and I will rub this. I'll put Clorox on here, and then I'll rub it and I'll let it sit, and it will lift the color out. It makes it nice and white again. So first I wondered if I would like plastic palettes like this because they absorb it, and it doesn't bother me now. The little tip with a little bit of bleach, and then I just rinse the pan really good. It does the trick. So I would just encourage you, you know, work within your budget. Buy the supplies that you can afford. This guy's probably $1. Michael's is an art store that's near us. It's in different states. In Michael's, they'll sell a set of these, or Hobby Lobby will. It might be $5 and you'll get a whole set of different types of palettes. So I'll do that, but this would probably be $1. I check Amazon. I just try to find prices that are the best for me. So I'm going to stop there for the palettes, and I'll start up on paints.